Another issue that really has come to the fore in the last several years has been this concern about curriculum change and who's responsible for, who gets to pick, what's taught. And of course, everybody on the planet wants to control it. And the truth is that they're the least qualified. I hear this from parents all the time. Well, I don't want you teaching my son this, or I don't want you teaching my daughter that, or I don't want you teaching my daughter over here. And I sort of touched on this earlier when I talked about indoctrination and as opposed to instruction. And I think if our focus in the schools is about instruction rather than these ideological issues, then I think we'll be okay. The problem we get into is when groups outside of the school, for whatever political reason they may have, want us to teach a particular idea, a particular version of history, a particular version of a particular event, or whatever it might be. I hear this all the time that, depending on what community you're in, those teachers are doing, teaching this and teaching that it's not necessarily connected to the curriculum. What we need is a curriculum that reflects the needs of our economy and our culture. And I think teachers are completely capable of figuring out what belongs in a history class, a government class, a speech class, an English class, a math class. That's what teachers do, That's what teachers do, is they're scholars. They look at what's going on in their subject area and they adjust the curriculum in order to fit their students, in order to help students understand the concepts. I think the goals of our curriculum should be to create, financially literate, reading, mathematically skilled students in a general sense. How we get there, the mechanics of the teaching process, honestly, should be left to teachers. And I know that may not be a popular idea, but it's the best way because we're professionals. We understand how students learn because we deal with it every single day. And I'll be honest with you, I get a little annoyed when I hear somebody come in and say, well, Joe, this is how you ought to teach your class, or this is the way you ought to do that. And I always bite my tongue, but I always want to say something like, well, gee, how would you feel if I came to your place of business and started telling you how to do your job? You'd probably react pretty negatively to that. And I think what we need to do is leave the curriculum to the teachers, leave the understanding of that to them, let them do their job. Now, sure, there needs to be follow through, and there needs to be a whole process of checking the curriculum and making sure it's properly aligned and that we're covering everything that needs to be covered. Sure, absolutely. But what we don't need is every citizen in the country putting their finger in the classroom and saying, hey, buddy, this is the way you need to do this, and this is the words you need to use to say this. Just let teachers do their jobs and then hold them accountable. That's all we really want. Thanks, guys, so much. Appreciate it.